Hey y'all, what's up and welcome back. Today you're gonna watch me fail at making a silicone mold. So I have the silicone. I thought I was all prepared, getting glue sticks, getting tape. I got a cookie cutter. I have my cool little Animal Crossing fossil that my friend 3D resin printed for me. I thought it was perfect. I got WD-40. This is where we messed up. Don't use WD-40. But other than that, I have everything here ready to go. This is just everything, that you'll need in order to make this cool little thing. So this is where I messed up. I sprayed WD-40 on the fossil because I thought it would stick in the silicone. Turns out, no, it wouldn't. So I followed the instructions for the silicone. Pretty much it was super easy. It was just one part A, one part B. Super freaking easy. I had a little cup, made sure, that I read everything thoroughly because this is my first time using silicone. But it actually turned out pretty dang cool. So I heated up my hot glue gun, made sure that was all good to go. I got pretty glittery hot glue. Honestly, it doesn't matter what type of glue you use. I just thought this was cool and thought maybe I could use it in another project. I don't know what I would ever use this again for. I don't know. But anyway, got my glue, heated up, and got on to making the, mold. I don't know what you would call it. So I watched another video of someone doing this. They took packing tape, and you want to lay it down sticky side up. And pretty much I'm going to make a base with this. So using the packing tape, sticky side up, layer it up. I made sure that I kind of overlapped a lot because I didn't want, silicone to run through or have anywhere to really escape to. So I did that to pretty much the size of my cookie cutter. I wanted to make sure that that fit on there. So I taped up enough tape until I knew we were good to go and it would fit. So now I have a square, and now I'm just taking the cookie cutter and sticking it. Since I laid it sticky side up, I wanted to make sure it stuck on there. So just kind of moving it around, making sure that it fit, because you don't want silicone to come out of any of this. So after doing that, I dried off my little, Animal Crossing guide. Noticed it was wet. Kind of started having suspicions here, but whatever. Went on to the next step, which pretty much was securing that cookie cutter to the tape. So pretty much just taking hot glue and going all the way around the edge here. I wanted to make sure that it was sealed shut so that nothing seeped through, nothing leaked through, just made it look pretty all the way around. And just made sure that there was for sure no leaks. So yeah, pretty much the whole point of this was to make a mold of that cool little Animal Crossing thing, because I wanted to make it out of MetalFlake resin and colored resin and stuff like that, and use them use them as fun little decorations, use them in projects. I don't really know. I just really wanted to make a mold and figured that this little Animal Crossing fossil was perfect thing to start with. So now I have it all hot glued, good to go. There's no little areas. There's no silicone's not going to get out of here is what I'm trying to say. So at this point, it sat for a while, but it was still a little wet, which still worried me. I wasn't 100% sure if I would need silicone or not, but I sprayed it anyway. Then I dried it off, and then I just stuck it in here. And I made sure that I smashed that thing down to the bottom of the tape, because like I said before, we laid the tape sticky side up, so that silicone shouldn't get underneath there. That's going to be kind of reverse, flip it, you'd fill it from that side. So when you're doing something like this, you need to make sure that you have a filling point, or you're going to have to rip apart your mold, cut it apart, and then you for sure have an area to pour in the resin to make it a mold. I don't know. So here I am mixing my 2 parts of silicone and hardener. Pretty much to make it easy, I used 2 separate cups and then poured it into another cup. Just because I wanted to reuse these cups really and didn't want silicone to get stuck in them. So I labeled the cups A and then labeled the other one B. Made sure, I poured the correct amount into it, because you did need 50-50. It needed to be dead set, matching all that good stuff. So I really took my time here, since I've never used silicone, to make sure that I had the proper measurements of both part A and part B. This did take some time just because I was a little nervous by it, you know, like I wasn't sure how you would really tell if it was all mixed, or what if you got bubbles, you know, like what if it didn't set, what if it got stuck, like all of these questions were running through my head. And honestly, I was so tempted to tint this silicone with like a colorant or something, but I don't know, I just thought it'd be cool if it was colored rather than drying like that weird clear color. But I figured on my first attempt at silicone, I should probably just leave it be, don't add anything to it, because I don't want to waste this stuff. Like, it was kind of expensive. I got it off of Amazon, and I think it was like 30 pounds for those 2 bottles. Maybe it was more. I don't remember. But, I mean, silicone's pricey, and it also takes forever to do this, so I didn't want to chance it by adding any colorant or anything in there weird just because I wanted to make the silicone look pretty. So now I have it both in the cup here, and I'm just going to start mixing that. And I'm not really worried about bubbles because it says the bubbles will like come out. They'll pop themselves after a while. So I for sure made sure it was all mixed, good to go, not streaking or anything, and I just poured it straight on top of that little Animal Crossing thing. So this is definitely where, if you had leaks, you were going to know at this point. So luckily, my mold was good to go. It didn't leak. Everything was fine. Nothing came spewing out the sides or anything. And I filled it up as close as I could, but then realized I needed some more. So I scraped out the cup and then had to mix, I think, like another 10 millimeters more. It wasn't much, just so I could for sure cover to the top of that mold, because the last thing I wanted was the top of my fossil to not be part of the mold, or it be too thin and like rip later on. So, you know, sorry, I cover everything up. I need to move my camera to the other side. You think I'd learned this by now, but I haven't. So as you can see, it's super thin on top, and like that was worrying me. So I did mix up some more and kind of fill it straight up to the top. That way it wasn't super thin. And I let this set, you know, for I think it was 12 hours. It was honestly probably longer than that. I tend to do projects late in the day and then go to bed, go to work, come home from work, do other things. And yeah, so I let it set for a long time, and it for sure was cured, which was awesome. But be ready to, you know, see me fail at this point. So luckily the fossil did not come off with that tape, so it for sure stuck to the bottom, which was awesome, which is why, you know, put the sticky side up. And here you can see that like ooey gooey mess. At this point I wasn't sure what it was. Like maybe the silicone hadn't hardened, but yet, you know, it was hard everywhere else. So I wasn't 100% sure how it was gonna work, but I really got nervous once it started coming out of that cookie cutter fine, but it's still sticky inside there, and like, ew, it looked gross. It was weird. I wasn't sure what to do at this point. So popping it out, you could just see that like the silicone didn't set, and it was weird and shiny. So my head thought maybe it has to sit a bit longer, you know, like maybe it has to air out because there was no air in there. It was super sticky and just weird. So what I ended up doing is letting that sit for, you know, about a day. I tried to clean it up with like a little paper towel and little Q-tip, but that ended up just like smearing the silicone because, like I said, it wasn't set. So here it is a day later, still super shiny, still super gross. So at this point I decided this mold isn't even worth it. It was my first try. It worked, just that mess up of the silicone, the WD-40 that I sprayed in there. I should not have sprayed that WD-40 because it messed it up. So I went ahead, prepared a whole new mold the exact same way as I did it earlier. Tape sticky side up, put the hot glue around the side, put the little Animal Crossing guy in there, made sure he was smashed down, and we're just going to do it again. This time I did not spray the fossil. Didn't spray it at all. I let it dry for over a day at this point, wiped it down, made sure it was dry. I think I even used some like alcohol on it and kind of made sure that there was nothing left on it. So pretty much we're gonna do the exact same thing again, since that first one was a flop. So mixed up, 40 millimeters, half and half of the silicone and the hardener, and just let it go. Did the exact same thing again, except this time the cookie cutter, when I took off the glue around the outside, it kind of like changed shape. So I kept it like that because I figured I would know the first one was the bad one that was circle, the second one is an oval, and that one's gonna work. So here we go, unmolding part 2. Again, good luck, because it stuck to the bottom, which is perfect, exactly what I wanted. Nothing looks ooey and gooey and gross, so just started popping it out from the little cookie cutter. And this one was a bit more difficult, I'm not sure why, but it eventually came out super easy, nothing ripped or anything like that. It's kind of weird how it gets stuck in there. So yeah, so far so good. And then, popping out that cool little fossil. This one was not sticky at all. Oh my god, look at that. It came out perfect. I couldn't be more happier with that. Look at that. It even got like all the detail from the 3D printed one, because that 3D printed one is actually a resin 3D printed, so it prints in layers, and like it even got the texture of the layers from when it was originally printed. And like the first one was horrible compared to that. You can see the difference in quality, and there's no way. So now what I wanted to do was taking MetalFlake, and this is honestly one of my favorite colors. It's Subzero by Painthuffers, of course, and pretty much taking this and the same resin that I use all the time, I'm gonna mix up some sparkly glittery flake to go in here. It is like the perfect color of the fossil, honestly, so I thought this was just a great flake to use. So this time I am wearing gloves, which I know seems to irk people that I don't wear gloves, or I work messy and I do everything just like not correct, but like, guys, it's art. You can do art however you want to do it. You can do whatever you want, however you want. So don't think that, oh, I'm watching, her video and she tells me to do it this way. You don't have to do it the same way as someone else does it. If I tell you to do something, take that with a grain of salt. You do whatever you want. Obviously, you should follow like your recommendations for your products and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's your art, and you can express yourself however you want. So with my resin here that I'm using, it is a very safe resin. I've been using it for over 2 years at this point. It literally has 0 chemicals in it. Okay, well, I say that, it's obviously a resin, it's going to have some type of chemicals, but it's not as chemically and bad for you as other resins are that are out there. So if you take 2 seconds to do research and look into resin, you don't have to wear a full respirator and all this stuff. Use good resin and you'll be fine. So that's enough of my rant. Just be safe, use safe products, do whatever you want. So this has now been not a couple days, it was a couple hours later. My resin sets super quickly, but like I said, I sleep, work, whatever. So it was for sure 12 hours, I believe, so all good to go. And when you're doing silicone/resin projects, the finish will take whatever finish that your piece has that you molded. So since that 3D piece in the beginning was kind of flat, that's the effect that I got here. And it turned out so freaking cool. Like, I can't get over it. So I did do a couple things to it, as you'll see here in the end. I ended up taking some alphaenamle, painting some white onto the stars, then I cleared over it, put some, silver leaf on it. I did a couple other ones just so you could see that like you could do multiple things with this mold. So I have gotten multiple pieces out of it, which is awesome. I'm still working to do more, but yeah, these are just, a couple that I got, and here's some pictures of it done. So if you have any questions, comments, whatever, let me know. Feel free to, keep watching my videos, and thanks for the support. See you later. Bye.